Welcome to my first crit race. This is the Seward Park Thursday night crit races, Cat 4-5 beginner at 5:30. Tonight was pretty miserable and drizzly, cold, windy, so very small crowd. This was my first crit race ever, in fact, my first bike race ever, and so went into this with pretty modest goals. One, wanted to make sure I didn't crash or hit anybody, and two, wanted to finish, with the third goal being to make it as far as I could with the pack before being dropped. And largely I succeeded in my goals. So as you can see in the coming laps, this track has a bit of elevation, and I was able to stay with the pack for the first 5 or so laps, and then ultimately end up getting dropped. I could have waited for the pack to come back around and rode on the tail, but wanted to see how far I could get without getting lapped. The pack ultimately caught me on my last lap, or going into my last lap, which created a funny situation on my final turn. But it was a fun race, and glad to have been there. Looking forward to doing more of these this season and getting stronger. Watching this after the fact, I did notice a couple key things. One, I am largely out of the draft most of the race, which is not where I wanted or intended to be. But this being my first race, I wanted to make sure I gave all the other riders plenty of room, that I didn't overlap wheels, and that I had an escape route in case something went awry. And then the second thing I noticed is that I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing on this final hairpin corner. I came in way too tight on most of the entries and had to power out to catch up to the rest of the group. And came in way too slow on a number of entries as well. You could see folks kind of bunch up behind me. So I got to figure out those two things for the next race. The next couple laps, 2 through 5, are pretty tame. So I'll stop the commentary here. Watch them if you wish. But I get dropped around lap 5. So as a brand new crit racer, one of the first discoveries I made was how challenging these hills get. Not on the first or second lap or during warm-ups, but on the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th laps. It was easy to stay with the pack on these first couple coming up this hill, but by the end of the race, certainly by the end of the race by myself, this thing was just miserable. And it's something I didn't really think about coming into it. It's not a huge hill, but it is painful later on. Well, this is the moment where everything starts to go wrong. So, as you'll hear in a moment, this is one of the bell laps in the race. And the rider to my right on this orange bike, he experiences some kind of mechanical. There's a puff of smoke that pops out by his rear tire drivetrain, and he peels off to the right, which is enough to distract me trying to figure out what's going on, where I fall off this pack here. I put in a bunch of power trying to catch up, which I eventually do at the bottom of the hill. But when we get to the next rise, I'm pretty spent at this point. My heart rate's high, and I'm tired, and just staying with the group is already a big challenge. So I've caught back up to the pack. I'm totally out of the draft. I'm pushing a ton of watts. My FTP is about 260, so I'm way over my threshold power, just trying to keep up. And now we're coming into the hill, which has proven to be one of the more challenging areas for me. So this is where I already know I'm going to be in pain coming up this thing, and I'm trying just to keep up with everybody. At the top of the hill here, I am gassed, and everybody takes off, and I'm just trying to bring my heart rate back down, and I let them go. And this was my biggest mistake. I'll never get back up to them here, particularly given that they all corner better than I can, and then take off down the front hill. So I say goodbye. I can see them over the course of the next couple laps get farther and farther away, and this will be the last that I see of them until the very last lap, or my very last lap, where they come and lap me. So here we are on my second to last lap, and this is the leader of the race lapping me. And he's at a breakaway headed for the checkered flag here at the top of this next hill. Behind him was the rest of the pack. You can see the next two riders coming up on me. And the irony here is I'm trying to make my left turn to finish my laps, and they're coming whizzing by. So here's my slowest entry into the final corner of the whole race, but I wanted to finish my set of laps. And that's basically it. Here's my last slow final lap, out of breath, just trying to finish. Nobody's at the finish line when I get there because I am dead last, or seconds to last. But glad to have completed the race. Learned a lot. Certainly a lot of the anxiety I felt going into this won't be there next time. I know what to expect. And looking forward to racing the rest of the season.